Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Recreational Board meeting, Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. Can I get a roll call, please?
Present.
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 Thank you, sir. We'll now start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Seeing no personal appearances, we'll move on to item number 5, consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Manson.
I move to accept the consent agenda for the Park Board minutes for June 22nd, 2021.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, hearing a first and a second. Any modifications? Nope, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor? All those that decline? And those that abstain? 4-4, 3 abstain. Next, we'll move to staff reports. Director?
Thank you, sir. I will ask Superintendent Gibbs to give a recreation report.
Thank you, sir. I've provided a written report, a couple of highlights that I wanted to point out. As a couple of you were at the Spirit of America event in Recreation Park at the beginning of the month, tremendous. This is my first event, my first time here in Raymore seeing that, and I was just absolutely blown away by the community, by the things that we offered, and just, you know, the overall experience was just pretty fantastic. I think we have kind of I don't know what I'm trying to say. The estimated, I guess, attendance was around 2,500 folks that we know about. We had some challenges at the beginning, and Steve can attest to this, and his staff, which did an awesome job of, we were no longer able to park cars in the grass like we have in the past and across, you know, the soccer fields and that. It actually seemed to work out pretty okay. We also had to relocate the food trucks from being on the soccer fields to being in that south parking lot, which we liked. It ended up working out pretty well for us, and that might be something that we do again next year. One of the challenges that we did see is we maybe didn't anticipate as many people that were going to be coming. The lines on the food trucks were pretty substantial, and even the line at our own concession stand was pretty substantial as well. And so next year, when we look at doing that again, we're looking at the food trucks, the vendors, the types of food, and more of them, and maybe we put them in different places as well as that south parking lot. But it seemed to work out really well for that south parking lot. And Nathan was talking to almost every one of the food truck vendors as they were exiting the park and getting fantastic reviews from each one of them. So I think they were really busy, and we had a couple of them that we know just ran out of food many times. So that's a good challenge to have. Couple highlights, the esports program that we know we've been talking about, the Summer League has started up. Wanted to highlight that we have 24 different cities that are in this program, 15 teams, and 24 different cities, or 24 different 24 cities, 175 players. We had 15 players from Raymore, and these are cities that are competing in this esport program that's put on by our department across the nation. So it's kind of a cool thing for us. Summer camp is also bursting at the seams. In years past, this time of the season, we have rarely seen more than 100 kids in the camp, and we are turning kids away now. We're at 125, and we're turning kids away, which is another good thing for, for the community, but it's also, it has its challenges as well, with staffing and whatnot. So if we are to continue to be able to offer this many spots for this many kids in the future, we'll have some different changes that we'll make. But it's really cool to see that there's so many folks that have come back from COVID and last year low numbers to really supporting our programs. So also working with Todd Brennan, we have officially received the Eat Smart in Parks grant, and this is through the University of Missouri Extension. This is a program that allows us to be able to offer more healthy options in our concession stands. I don't want to say it's a pilot program, but it's an introduction program that gives us the monies to be able to work with signage, to work with different types of product, maybe training, marketing, those type of items that it does not cover staffing, it does not cover the actual food itself, but it gives us more of an opportunity to try and figure out how to make more healthy foods available. Because we know that more healthy foods are not necessarily things that people always go for at, they want nachos, they want hamburgers, they want things like that. And it's more of an education. We're still going to have nachos, we're still going to have hamburgers, but we're going to have healthier options as well. If we have a regular bag of chips that has so many calories, so much sodium, whatever, we also have a more healthy, not healthy, but more healthy option. And so that goes along with drinks as well. Gatorade in itself, then you have G2. There are different options, and it also goes into package sizes and lots of different things. So you'll start to see some changes in our concession stands, and there is an evaluated process, but there is a significant amount of money that comes along with this grant that we're pretty excited to start spending. One thing that the grant does allow us to do is purchase equipment. And that's one of the options that we have some of that challenge with our concession stands, but a lot of other concession stands that maybe don't have the right type or the size of refrigerators to have fresh, like salads or whatever. So we'll be identifying some different types of equipment that we can also purchase with this grant money as well. So it's kind of it's really pretty cool, and we'll work with the extension office, and they have a lot of resources that they've put out for us in developing menus and training for staff and just being able to help us be more successful. In Parks and Recreation, we work for a healthy lifestyle, in whether it's biking or whether it's football or whether it's fitness classes or whatever. This will be just another step in that to help as part of a whole person of offering more healthy food options when we get to the concession stands. So I guess that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Gibbs? Bill?
Superintendent, would you say there's been an increase in the utilization of our, the center view, the rack and the shoulders? Mm-hmm. A sizable one? Well, of course, I'm not trying to compare it to 2020, but 2019. Or we're on the right path to that?
We are on the right path. And like I said, this is, while I haven't been here for all the history, in talking with staff that, and especially during COVID, there have been more folks that have wanted to rent our outdoor shelters and use our parks. So we're seeing an uptick in that. The usage is
Right.
going quite well.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Director?
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, sir. I will ask Mr. Rulo to give a parks report.
Thank you. I've provided a, excuse me, a written report. Wanted to touch on a few things. Again, like Jimmy had said, all the park board members who came out to the Spirit America and helped out, much appreciated. It was great to see you guys out there, and we definitely enjoyed the help. If anybody didn't know about it, the spray ground had been down for a couple weeks. It actually went down July 4th. Finally got it back up and running last Saturday. It was basically a drive that runs the pump went down on us, and trying to get with the vendor and get a brand new pump, which they aren't sitting on the shelf, to get it built, to get it programmed and back and up and running in that amount of time was really a blessing. So if you go by, you can't tell it's ever been down because the people are jam-packed in there. We were up there today, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 people using the spray ground, and another 6 to 10 playing on the playground. So, and it was hot, yes. Yeah. So continuing to be a great addition to our park services. One other thing that the park staff is working on right now, we started working on our preparation for the mud run out at Hawk Ridge Park. Started cutting some of the cut-throughs through the trees, started mowing the trail. So you guys will kind of, if you're out there, you'll kind of start seeing the trail. It's got mowed with the big brush hog. The next week it'll get mowed with a better mower and finer and start going down. We got about 4 weeks, I believe it's August 20th. Is that correct? August 20th, Friday night. So if any of you are out and about that night, it's a great event to come out and see these kids. I mean, all they want to do is see how muddy they can get, and nothing but ear-to-ear smiles. So with that, I conclude my report, and I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? No? Thank you, Mr. Rulo. Director.
Thank you, sir. I've also provided a written report. Couple highlights that I provided the City Council last night as well. I had the privilege of speaking at the Foxwood Springs morning television program earlier this month, as well as guest speaker at the Optimist Club on one of their breakfasts on a Tuesday morning. And also, I was introduced the keynote, which are our partners with Unlimited Play at today's Chamber of Commerce luncheon. And the topic was for all three were just general park improvements, but highlighting our Hawks Nest Playground project. That also ties into this weekend. We have, as you all know, we have a benefit concert at Hawk Ridge Park, and our information is in my packet as well as all over our website, Facebook. There's posters around town. I know Councilmember Circo was taking posters to some businesses to hang up, but we have some live music, 3 different bands, country bands, some folk and funk type music, and then the Southland Conservatory, which are our headliners for this particular one, a local business that does music lessons and youth band, big band, stuff like that. But all proceeds go to, there'll be some fundraising efforts. All proceeds go to the Hawks Nest. We will have food trucks, a beer garden, and percentage of all the items sold also goes to our Hawks Nest playground. All of that I say to what I'm wrapping up July, which is Parks and Recreation Month. We kicked off the month with a proclamation by the mayor at the first city council meeting, and I wanted to wrap up the month at this meeting, just kind of highlighting all the stuff. July is typically a small or a slower month for Parks and Rec. It's kind of when we, outside of summer camp, the sports are in a lull, a lot of people on vacation, so we have some basic stuff going, but it just never seems to slow down, even though July is one of our slower months. We've been very busy, very proud of my team and the work that we do here for the city. Like Steve said, I want to give major thanks to Jimmy and Steve and Dave at Brenton Electric for meeting me out there on a Saturday, spending about 3.5 hours getting that spray ground up, because as we found out the hard way, 20 days is too long to not have that spray ground going, even though we went a lifetime without one up until a few months ago. So glad to have that up. And finally, welcome to all of our board members. Finally got a full board after we've had a couple resign, and got a little hairy there whether we were going to make quorum a couple times, but thank you to those who continue to serve, and welcome to the new ones. And that concludes my staff report, sir.
Any questions for the director? No? Thank you, sir. We have no unfinished business, so we're going to move on to new business. Action item A, Park Beautification Adoption Program. Director?
Thank you, sir. I have submitted a written report on this and a couple of attachments. Essentially, this is a revision to our older Adopt a Trail program. We wanted to expand that. I know the Park Beautification Adoption Program is a mouthful. It's mostly going to be called Adopt a Spot, when we get down to the signage and stuff like that. Outside of the trails, we wanted to expand this program to include specific areas. A couple of examples would be this program would allow youth groups or families or whoever to adopt Hawkridge or Johnston Lake and actually be permitted to get into the water to pick up trash in the lake, and they would be considered the adopters of the lake. Or the fort at Recreation Park. An example I used for you guys earlier was a church next to TB Hanna Station adopting TB Hanna Station, where they would have work days or community service days where they would go out, work with us to pick up sticks and do some stuff that just helps Steve and our guys keep ahead of the game on that. I feel like it's a valuable program. We didn't have anything in place like this, and to be quite truthful, I wanted to revise this program to put it in place so that when folks call and complain about how trashy Johnston Lake is, I can say, well, that's great. We have an opportunity for you to help, instead of just making a complaint to us and expecting us to do the work. Not that we don't do the work, we just need some help. Johnston Lake takes a lot of trash, and it's a non-stop process. That particular one, we would most likely bring to the park board for review because it's a high profile amenity. It takes a lot of work, and I would probably do multiple contracts or agreements with groups so that it's not just one company doing it 3 times a year, but it could be multiple people going throughout the year, and we would have signage. The rest of them would most likely just be one per spot. The other unique thing about this is I've provided a list of pre-approved spots that we as staff have gone through and looked at, but it also gives the opportunity for if a spot or somewhere in our park or an island near, a roadside island in front of a park or something like that that's near someone's house and they would like to take care of it, it gives the option for them to suggest a location. We'll take it under review. If we feel like it's safe and they can do that, then we will pre-approve that and move forward with the process. Nuts and bolts of it is it's a 2-year deal. When they sign an agreement or a permit, it's a 2-year deal. We ask them to pick up 3 times a year or every 4 months. And if they don't do that, we'll take it away from them, which that rarely ever happens. But what we want to do is make sure they get recognition. So once their adoption is permitted, they schedule their spots and their times after that first one, and we see that they're committed to doing this, then we'll place an order for a sign that'll be placed in that particular location. Outside of that, pretty self-explanatory. Wanted to get this before you guys. I guess one other thing I'd like to make mention so that it's very clear is outside of Johnston Lake or high-profile areas, most of these will be approved and move forward just internally with staff. We'll give you updates in our staff reports of how many are adopting or if this is working or whatnot, but the Johnston Lake is a little bit different, and we may end up including Red Park Pond at some point if we find that it's needed, but allowing people to get in water as opposed to just picking up trash or sticks on the side, it's a little bit different, so I want to make sure that the board is okay with and they may want to do this and we feel like it's okay, but you as a board say, I really don't like this age group, this youth group doing this, but I prefer not, I want to make sure we're all comfortable with those higher profile areas. I am happy to answer any questions. The packet is all before you. If approved tonight, later this fall, we'll start promoting this and rolling this out and really, getting this thing rolling throughout the fall and the winter. So that concludes staff report.
Any questions for the director? Not seeing any, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I make a motion to approve the Park Beautification Adoption Program.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Hearing a first and second, any discussion? Not seeing any, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Action item B, our favorite part, fiscal year 22 budget recommendation. Director?
Thank you, sir. This is one of the biggest things that we do as a board in a given year is approve our budget. This is the operations budget. This is what we go to pay our bills, to guide what we purchase, what we spend, all of our programs, everything that we do outside of city projects is in this budget. And it's a 6-month process. We start in around February when we begin looking at this. It's pretty labor intense for our staff. And then we work with the city manager, the finance director, to present to you a budget that is as close to balanced as we can. This past month in June, in one of our work sessions, we spent some time going line by line explaining this. That's your opportunity to ask any questions. We answer those as best of our ability. We take that information back and change anything that you might have or make any final tweaks and adjustments and bring it back to you for final approval. Where this goes from here is upon your approval, it goes to the city manager to be inserted in the overall city budget. And then August 16th, I believe, is a work session of the council in which we as staff will present this to the city council. It will already be noted when they get it that you have reviewed this budget, you've critiqued it with us, and you are approving the recommendation of this budget. And so the only other components outside of this are the schedule of fees and the capital improvement project, program which we did last month. So for you, those who are new to the board, we'll bring those back for you in a work session and give you some background on what we've already approved. But this is one of the better days when we can say, this is yours now, we don't want it anymore. And then we get it back in November and we have to live by it. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is our fiscal year 22 proposed budget for your consideration and approval.
Any questions for the director? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
and I make a motion to accept and recommend the proposed fiscal year 22 budget as presented with the authorization for Parks and Recreation Director and the city manager to make necessary changes to balance the final budget based on updated projections.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. I've heard a first and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Passes Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to board member comment. I'll start with Rich.
I have none today.
Okay. Josh?
I have none.
Okay. Patrick?
We'd just like to thank the park staff for the work that they're doing, and it'll be quite fun to help represent the city as well. So appreciate the work you're doing and continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ken?
No comments.
Okay. Chris?
I have no comments.
Bill?
Yes, I'd like to thank the staff too for the Spirit of America. They did an excellent job. And I know our chair added a substantial amount of his time to it.
Thank you, Bill. I'll finish with, first off, welcome to the 3 new board members. We're excited to have you. We believe that new opinions work well with this group along with the season, so we appreciate you. I'd like to thank the partners that helped get the spray ground going, because that was an absolute headache, and to get parts and get it running as quick as we did, I would have never thought that would have happened with things that are stuck on ships out in places we don't know where they're at and so forth. So I appreciate staff working hard to keep on top of them, then our partners getting them done. Also would like to thank the Arts Commission and Melissa Harmer for their help moving forward with the Hawks Nest fundraiser, and looking forward to hopefully a little break in the weather and this being a big success. As usual, thank you, staff. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we appreciate all your hard work, the mayor, the city council, and the citizens. So with that, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? This meeting is adjourned.